Hey everyone, welcome back, listeners, to the BizBlend Podcast, the show where we talk about the actual messy middle of business, not just the shiny highlight reel. I'm your host, Sana, and today we are talking about something most of us, secretly fear proactively getting ready for our pivot, especially the one we do not expect. Now, you know that email, that calendar invite, the one that says, can we talk? From your CEO or your investor or your boss or your biggest client. In Andrew's case, in my guest's case, that conversation happened in March 2024. The message was blunt. The company might not survive without funding. At 53, as a South African immigrant with no college degree and what he calls a chaotic, unplanned career, he could have gone into panic mode. Instead, he chose something very different: radical service. Within months, he turned that cliff edge moment into a new operating system for his life. He launched a global coaching mission, mentored professionals from Iraq to Botswana, in India to Venezuela for free. He built a thriving fractional executive practice, wrote two books, became a go to mentor for startup founders and Fortune 500 leaders. This is not a success theater, listeners. Andrew calls himself an introverted extrovert. He struggled to walk up to the strangers at conferences. He hated self promotion. He had a LinkedIn full of people he barely knew. So if you are listening and thinking, yeah, but I'm not that polished, good, he's not either. So today we are going to unpack how you can prepare for a pivot before it hits your inbox. What to put in place now so you are not scrambling later. And we are also going to challenge some of the hype around pivot culture because sometimes the bravest move is to not pivot. So, listeners, meet my incredible guest, Andrew Brummer. And Andrew, welcome to BizBlend, and it's a real honor to have you here with us.
Thank you, and thanks for the invitation to be here. I appreciate it.
Uh, Andrew, first of all, before we start and and begin with your journey, that moment in back in March 2024, I think I'm very interested to explore about how we can explore that messy situation or that the fact that I may not believe in self promotion, I may not believe in kind of being an entire extrovert, but then still how I can actually be successful and especially be ready for a pivot or be or may not always expect pivot. I think that is something very interesting. We'll definitely explore in the conversation. But before that, Andrew, take us right into March 2024. You get the message. Company might not make it without funding. What did it exactly look like for you?
So I think, as with anyone, I mean, it's a scary moment, right? You look in the mirror and you have a situation that is thrust at you that you have no control over. You can't fix it. It just is what it is, and you have to decide, what do I do with this moment now? How do I how do I take this situation? And
Mm.
I can fall victim to it. I could have chosen to be the victim and chosen to sit there and just experience the consequence of it. I could have waited for the actual event to take place, which inevitably took place about 18 months later when I decided to move on. Uh,
Mm.
or I could have got in front of it and said, you know what, this is what it is. Now, how do I pick this up? How do I move forward? But it's a frustratingly scary moment when you look at it and you realize, man, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, it is. um, and once the shock kind of because our immediate reaction would be because how biologically or kind of the instant the organic reaction kind of we get into this denial and then um get into that rabbit hole of what is going to happen, what is not going to happen, and all that. And then once that shock kind of goes, Um, I think that's the most decisive moment. That can be the most decisive moment. So for you, Andrew, what was the first concrete move you made in the next 24 to 48 hours? Um, like the most unglamorous move that you made?
Yeah, so I mean, one doesn't get, I mean, the experience happens, right? And you're in the situation. So that situation survived itself for quite a few months, many months
Mm.
actually. In terms of dealing with it, I didn't sleep much that night. I woke up the next morning, got out of bed, did the budgets, looked at the family and said, guys, I think we're in trouble. We need to be smart now. And we immediately decided to half pack the house of everything that we don't use on a day to day basis. So we half packed everything.
Mhm.
And then just put my head down and started getting involved and trying to figure out how do I build brand? How do I get myself out there? How do I restructure? And that whole journey from the breaking of the news to having an action plan and working towards it was about, I don't know, 24, 48 hours. It was very quick. Just heads down. And then by the Monday, I was out canvassing, looking for volunteer opportunities, looking for places that I can start building my brand and finding my feet.
Mm.
I think a
Mm.
lot of it is mindset.
Mm.
It's to allow the situation to to hold the better of you, or do you get in front of the situation and define what actually transpires next?
Mm. And did it involve something that maybe initially you didn't believe and now you had to actually do it? Like, you mentioned that you had to get out there. Um, I mean, you had to kind of build a brand. Was it something that you initially maybe didn't actively work upon because you thought,
Oh yeah. Yeah,
you
like
know,
with most humans, most of us, right? So most of us get comfortable in our job. We get comfortable in doing what we're doing. We're comfortable that we're either educated well, we are earning decent money, we're in a lifelong job or the ideal job of our career.
Mm.
Or, we're in a situation that we get comfortable. And I don't know that any one of us choose to create a hole for ourselves. I think the act of being comfort creates the opportunity for us not to network, not to
Mm.
recognize that we need to build our brand, not to recognize that um, when things go wrong, most of those people that are around you today will not be around you tomorrow. Most of the people that you have worked with in the past will talk about helping you, but will not help you either because they just don't know how, they're not in a position to, or it's not in their personal interests to help you. So a lot of people say, well, I've got a good network, I've got a good history of people that I've worked with and I've affected, and they'll be there when I need help. And out of all of the people I've spoken with, I've met
Mhm.
hundreds of people over the last 20 months, over 1,000 where I've actually met with them either on Zoom or face to face. And most of them are in a similar situation where people they just don't have the opportunity. The people are not there to help them, and you're on your own. So the real key question is, how do you get in front of knowing that something like this, especially with AI, right? AI changes everything.
Mm.
Um, how do we individually get in front of this before the situation is costing us? And what do you do? How do you start networking? How do you start building your brand? How do you start getting involved in the areas around you that you're not in today that you may want to move yourself into, given that there is a pivot or a hiring change or something like that. But waiting for the event to transpire is a fool's game. You commit yourself to an inevitable outcome that you have no control over, and then you create an emergency. So my recommendation to everyone is recognize that things will change and start networking now, finding out where you want to be and how do you surround yourself with people who are going to be able to help you if you need it, when you need it.
Absolutely. I think this is such a big life lesson. You know, it's like a lifeline, Andrew, and I think it's a litmus test as well. Especially for, as you mentioned, like we may have 100 people out there, maybe on LinkedIn or outside, whom we would know, but then I think the challenging times and the difficult times, the ones who actually would genuinely even put an effort to help, I think they are the ones that, we should definitely, um, not just be in touch, but actively connect with them, actively, maybe thank them or, uh, I mean, that is a light life lesson. It is a life
Yeah.
lesson.
Yeah. And, my LinkedIn network has grown by something like 6 or 7,000 people. It's a stupid number. The important number is that there are about 600 people that know me now that did not know me 20 months ago. There is about 100 of those 600 who have done something to help me. A book, introduced me to somebody, passed my name on, recommended me. And those 100 people I did not know 20 months ago. And there are 16 people that have done something that has fundamentally changed my career trajectory that I did not know 20 months ago. And
Mm.
staying in touch with those people, it's not about the maintaining a relationship with 7 or 20,000 people, however big your LinkedIn is. It's identifying those people in your network who have some sort of symbiotic connection with you, who recognize you as a human being, who listen to you, who talk with you, who get to know you, who you get to know them, and you stay in contact with them. And you just, people say it's just that, I've had many people say, well, the networking thing it's a long game and you're just not going to get there. I think my experience is testament to if you go in with a view of helping people, not selling yourself, and not asking for anything, people will lean in and help you. And I have 600 names of people that I didn't know 20 months ago. I mean, 16 people have put their names on the line for me, in recommending me, putting me in, doing something for me that has transformed things for me. And the important thing is, I did not know them 20 months ago. So just imagine what you could do if you started at 25, 35, 45 years old and you start networking and start building really deep connections and relationships with people. Just imagine in 20 months, I have 16 people that have affected me. Imagine what that means for you over 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. So
Mm.
be deliberate, get out
Mm.
there, help, serve, look after people around you. Stay in touch with the people that matter, that care, that demonstrate that they're open to being in touch. And those people who don't want to talk with you, don't want to stay engaged, just let them go.
That is no, no, that is gold. That is gold, Andrew. That is gold. And then I personally absolutely believe in that because um, even if I've changed uh, industries or um, an entire career shift, I think it is absolutely possible. Uh, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to sound or you have to be like um, a good communicator. You just have to be, kind of be in your own authentic self. And uh, there's this genuine human um, connection, which I think, these people will definitely understand. And I think that's what we should definitely work upon. So, especially when we are trying to network or connect with people, not just be on the surface level or superficial in terms of, this and that or or being silly or being kind of, desperate or something like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm. Mhm. And so Andrew, let's say someone who is listening to this, they realizes that okay, I have none of this. I have no strong reputation, no clear niche, um, just average, no financial cushion. What is the first 30-day sprint you would have them run? Like let's say if they want to start immediately today to build pivot readiness from zero, from the scratch.
In your field of profession, find out how to volunteer. Get onto adplist.org or pushfar.com. There are websites that you can volunteer your time and knowledge and get involved. Help volunteer, pass it forward, get involved in startup incubators, professional and local incubators. Get involved and serve people around you in your professional capacity that have no ability to do anything for you. Put yourself out there, take your skills, and start helping people. Get yourself focused on what other people need, how you can support them, and it will be fascinating what you learn about yourself. And that learning about yourself then helps you open up the doors for tomorrow to figure out, where do I want to go, not versus where I've landed up or where I've worked myself into. Because you volunteering and when you're serving other people brings out a true light in you of who you are, what you're about, why you do what you do, are you doing what you should be doing, and then start figuring out how you grow further into that to take things to a new place that you never thought or imagined could be possible. So that's the first thing. The second thing is get networking. Get onto LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the professional gravity hub. Get on there, start networking, start engaging with people, then sell, don't pitch, don't make yourself available, don't brag about how smart you are. Just reach out to people and say, hey, I love this space, would love to chat with you. Found this report, heard of this conference, found this paper, heard of this person. This person sounds like that they need to be introduced to you or need to meet you. Just start focusing on expanding that network, helping other people, volunteering, absolutely, and then get involved, get very active on LinkedIn to find the people that you're going to, that will resonate with you in your space and help introduce people. Take person A and introduce them to person B and get out of the way. Don't ask for anything in return. Just get moving. Those are the two fundamentals to get out there and meet people. Start, as part of your LinkedIn, just get out there and meet people. Go have coffees with people. In the age of AI, this world's going to change. We're not going to know whether we're talking with a bot or a human. So get out there and go meet people, have a cup of coffee, mess tomato sauce on one another, and go find your crowd, go find your team, go find your world.
Exactly, exactly. I'm definitely going to personally also take this away, and urge all of our listeners, um, even if you think that no, this is not required for me or not needed right now, I would still urge all of you, to make a mental note or maybe um, uh, put this down in your journal, because um, this is the very human truth. Like, your future pivot is funded by how you show up today in a job you might secretly resent. Um, so, Andrew, one particular, kind of question that comes to my mind is, um, like, every field is full of people, yelling, you reinvent, you burn it down, you change, and you pivoted, all that. Like, great content. But then it can also wreck real lives. So, do you think that we have over romanticized the pivot, or are we sometimes using reinvention as a distraction from doing the boring work of fixing our current situation?
So reinvention is only usually done when we are faced with circumstances that are so uncomfortable that it forces our hand. If there's a big difference between reinvention versus making sure that you own your brand today. So if you are today in a comfortable job with comfortable people around you, earning a good salary and you're enjoying yourself, expanding and creating your network and meeting people and creating content on LinkedIn, that's not pivoting. That's not changing. That's not doing anything different to change your current career spot trajectory. That's
Mm.
getting you ready for the future. And then if you land up in a situation where the rug is pulled out from underneath you and you need to go into a pivot or reinvent, then absolutely go there. I'm not advocating reinvention or pivoting just for the sake of it at all. Not at all.
Mm.
As far as we are, what my whole journey has been, and the book You Decide that I wrote, the You Decide book that is there, um, is about getting ready, getting yourself ready so that when that situation happens, that your hand is forced, that you need to move on or the world changes around you, that you've built a structure around you that can help you through it. If you are comfortable where you're at and you're earning a decent salary and you're enjoying your work, why on earth would you pivot? I wouldn't
Yeah.
reinvent. I'll go there. But being in that place and not networking, not making sure that you have people around you, not making sure that you don't know what bodies are around you, what forums where people get together, not having people that you get together with to go have a cup of coffee and talk about the world and life and what the world is doing and what the opportunities are outside of your comfortable friend circle that have been around with you for the past 5, 10 years. I think that's just silly today. I think anybody who is not networking, not expanding their visual opportunity horizon, I think when you will inevitably end up with a Dear Johnny letter where you are forced, your hand is forced, and then you will scramble. I can't tell you how many people I've met where their hand has been forced and they scramble and they're doing everything they can to find something else, and it's tough. It's really tough.
It is, it is, it is, Andrew, because personally I have gone, and especially not in terms of the pivot, but the mindset shift, the mindset change. Earlier I used to think that, um yeah, I also do believe in uh, not doing a lot of self promotion, but then also think, and I also absolutely believe that it is it is definitely necessary to put yourself out there, the work you are doing, or maybe to be actively out there, because um you just never know what's going to happen. Because right now I think the the unpredictability thing has, like, uh it has, like, it's going top top the roof, and it's going, it's so much unpredictability in terms of jobs or careers or situations. So I think it's absolutely necessary to have that flexibility to accept that, yes, something which may work right now may not work maybe after 5 or 6 months or even a year after. So I think, yeah, I think I'm also absolutely, yeah.
And the key is getting people around you. So it's not about who you know, it's about who remembers you when
Mm.
they're in a situation where something comes up that they remember that you exist and they can talk about you because they remember that they remember you because either because of you, what you've done for them, how you made yourself memorable to them. And it's not pivoting for the sake of pivoting. I want to be very clear on that. It's just about getting ready. In my world, when I got there and I had to pivot, I wasn't ready. I was in a boatload of trouble. And I'm a very, very proactive, highly throughput person. So,
Mhm.
and I'm very focused. So
Mm.
I was able to figure out how, and I had a soft landing. I had a lot of time to figure this out. And I didn't need to put myself under that pressure. If I'd just taken the time to go and figure out who was around me, where would I want to be, who would I go to, what were the forums, what were the groups, what were the networks, who are the people, who are the decision makers in the space, in the field, in the city, in the state. Then if I didn't do any of that, if I don't do that, if that happens to me tomorrow and I have to pivot again, well, you then fall into the echo or the shadow of other people that are going to dictate or help or tell you what you're going to do. I mean, you have a choice. You figure it out, you figure out and build it around you, or you live the consequence of being in a spot that you weren't ready for, you aren't ready for. It's very simple.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely makes sense, Andrew. So before we wrap up, if our listeners, they would like to connect with you, Andrew, and they would also like to share their thoughts about this conversation, get hold of all the resources that you're sharing, what would be the best way?
Best way to get hold of me is andrewbrummer.com or on LinkedIn, Andrew Brummer. I look forward to
To-
chatting with anyone and everyone. I love the topic. I love paying it forward. I love passing onward. I love helping people. So open to any discussions.
Absolutely, absolutely. Listeners, to make that easier for you, I'll have all the links and details in the show notes for everyone. So do reach out to Andrew, connect with him. Feel free to share your thoughts, maybe about this conversation or something that you would like to share. Or and before we wrap up, I think today we did not just talk about reinvention as a buzzword, listeners. We looked at what eventually sits underneath a real pivot: your nervous system, your relationships, your reputation, your habits, your willingness to serve, before you sell. And Andrew showed us that you can start over at 53 with no degree and a tiny active network. But he also made it very clear for us that the work started long before that funding call in March 2024. So if you are listening and you feel the ground shifting under you, or you have that quiet sense that a pivot is coming, even if no one has said it loud out, here is your BizBlend homework. Okay, let's note this down, listeners. Take your journal or maybe just a blank page and write a one-page honest snapshot of your current reality. No spin, just an honest spin. Then do Andrew's 30-day sprint. Even it's fine if you do it imperfectly. Just start with it and block 30 minutes on your calendar and name it as Future Pivot Insurance and protect it like a board meeting. And do ask yourself some contradictory questions too, like, am I trying to pivot to escape growth? What if the real move is to stay and change how I show up? Because you do not have to turn your life into a dramatic movie. You just have to build the next version of you on purpose before circumstances force it. And Andrew, thank you so much for giving us a reality in a grounded, in a very pragmatic way. Thank you for giving us a blueprint as well through your journey. I mean, this is absolutely necessary. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me be here and carry the message.
Superb, superb. And listeners, if this episode hit a nerve, share it with one colleague or friend or founder who is clearly standing at a pivot point and maybe pretending that everything is fine. Have the real conversation with them and send them this. Until then, you have been listening to BizPen with Sana, where we mix real talk, strategy, and humanity so you can build a business and life that can handle the plot twists. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.